You know things are getting ridiculous when a 2-second uphill clip can trigger an entire corner of the internet. Apparently, the latest crisis is that Aptera can't go uphill. Yes, the futuristic solar-powered vehicle designed to redefine what efficiency means has now been labeled incapable because of one short, out-of-context moment from a news demo. It's honestly wild. We live in a world where the smallest imperfection can be turned into a viral narrative. It's almost as if the internet is allergic to patience. People see a clip, jump to conclusions, and declare the entire project a failure. Never mind the years of innovation, testing, and actual progress behind it. So before we light the torches and grab the pitchforks, let's slow down and talk like adults about what really happened and why this so-called scandal says a lot more about the critics than it does about Aptera. Here's the truth. Aptera is still in its pre-production stage. They're finalizing supply chains, signing supplier contracts, and preparing for full-scale manufacturing. They've raised over $20 million through crowdfunding, earned an $80 million tax credit for their factory equipment, and are waiting on the ATVM federal loan, the same type of loan that kept Tesla alive back in 2008. This isn't a company on the brink. It's a company scaling carefully. A small, determined team with a massive vision and limited resources trying to do what legacy automakers couldn't: build an affordable, solar-powered vehicle for the everyday driver. During one of their many outreach efforts, Aptera brought their Gamma prototype to events and interviews to showcase the progress of the design. That's when NBC tested it. That short clip of the car slowing uphill? That's where the entire rumor started. But here's what people ignore. The Gamma unit wasn't built for performance testing at all. It was a design-focused prototype, a showpiece to highlight how the car looks and feels inside and out. The cooling tubes for the powertrain weren't even connected because it wasn't meant for powertrain testing. On a scorching San Diego afternoon, the powertrain naturally overheated. It wasn't a mechanical flaw. It was simply the limit of a prototype doing a job it wasn't built for. And yet, somehow, that 2-second clip became proof that Aptera can't handle hills. It's the same short-sighted thinking we've seen for decades. Remember when Tesla was nearly bankrupt? Or when Apple's Face ID failed on stage? People laughed. Now those companies are industry leaders. Prototypes fail. Demos flop. That's not incompetence. That's iteration. That's how real progress is made. Even tech giants with billions of dollars have had major public stumbles. Apple's AirPower, scrapped after years of hype. Microsoft's Surface Duo, ambitious, flawed, but necessary. So if a small startup trying to revolutionize mobility has one imperfect demo, maybe we can stop pretending it's the end of the world. Because the truth is, Aptera isn't another luxury EV startup chasing high margins and attention. They're building something fundamentally different, and for a completely different kind of driver. They're not saying, buy our car because it's faster. They're saying, what if your car didn't need to plug in at all? Think about that. A vehicle that can charge itself from sunlight, giving you up to 11,000 miles of free energy every single year. A starting price around $30,000, not $80,000 or $90,000. A design that uses less than half the energy per mile of a Tesla Model 3, and a potential range of 1,000 miles on a single charge for those who truly want to go the distance. It's for people who don't have home chargers, for commuters who want freedom from the grid, for people who believe sustainability shouldn't be a luxury item. And yet, instead of celebrating that, people are nitpicking prototypes. They ignore the bigger picture because it's easier to laugh at a stumble than to understand the climb. Aptera's not rushing production just to prove the critics wrong. They're taking their time, methodically, responsibly. because that's how real companies survive. Lordstown Motors tried to deliver too early, and it killed them. Aptera's avoiding that fate. They're refining every detail with people like Sandy Munro, one of the most respected manufacturing engineers in the world. They're building beta prototypes to test performance, thermals, and safety, while preparing the Delta model, the final production-grade vehicle that will use the same parts, systems, and materials that customers will eventually receive. That's what engineering maturity looks like, step by step. Build, test, fix, repeat. But of course, in the age of clickbait and outrage, patience isn't trending. It's funny. When a billion-dollar automaker releases a $300,000 luxury EV, the internet applauds and calls it innovation. But when a small startup tries to make an affordable solar-powered car for regular people, suddenly it's impossible. The irony writes itself. Many of the same people mocking Aptera were once saying, EVs will never work. Now they're driving EVs and mocking the next generation of innovation. Here's the thing, not everyone will want an Aptera, and that's okay. It's not trying to replace every vehicle on the road. It's carving out a new space, one built around freedom, simplicity, and sustainability. Imagine waking up to a car that charged itself while you slept. No outlets, no chargers, no waiting in line for a supercharger. You just drive, powered by the same sun that rises for free every morning. That's not science fiction. That's Aptera's mission. It's not about showing off. It's about building independence. Independence from fuel prices, from electrical grids, from the idea that clean energy has to be expensive. And while others rush to release flashy prototypes for press coverage, Aptera quietly keeps improving. They're open with their community. They answer tough questions. They own up to issues instead of hiding behind corporate PR. That kind of transparency is rare, and it's exactly why people believe in them. Because progress doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's slow. But if history tells us anything, it's that every major innovation looks like a failure halfway through. So, to the people cheering for Aptera's failure, take a moment. You don't have to like it. You don't have to buy it. But why root against people who are genuinely trying to build something better for all of us? There's room for trucks, SUVs, and solar cars. The world doesn't need less innovation. It needs more of it. If you can't support that, at least don't discourage the ones who can. As the wise bunny from Bambi once said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. And to everyone who still believes in the underdog, who sees past the noise and recognizes that meaningful change takes time, thank you. You're the reason projects like this survive. Because real progress doesn't come from critics. It comes from creators, from dreamers, from builders. And Aptera? They're still building, one hill at a time.